And now Bernard Hopkins prepares to enter the ring, wearing garb entirely different from his usual black executioner's outfit. That symbolism regarded by Bernard and the people around him as not entirely appropriate tonight.
And he is expecting to be booed, Jim. And his answer is, I come from Philadelphia where they boo Santa Claus. Once again, turning a negative into a positive.
America the Beautiful by Ray Charles. Hopkins' chosen entry music. The two men who enter the ring behind him carrying a fireman's helmet and a policeman's cap. Trinidad has been here in New York since September 9. He never left. And now let's go to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask you to please rise for the singing of our national anthems. In the ring, ladies and gentlemen, presenting the colors, we have our special guest honor guards representing the New York City Fire Department and New York City Police Department. First, we present the national anthems of Puerto Rico. Please welcome Puerto Rican recording artists, Alpha.
Cuando a sus playas llegó color, exclamó lleno de admiración. Esta es la linda tierra que busco yo. La hija del mar y el sol, 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 del mar.
And thank you very much to Alpha. Please remain standing, ladies and gentlemen. We present the national anthem of the United States. And to lead us tonight, we have the celebrated vocalist and New York City police officer. Please welcome Danny Rodriguez.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave
And thank you very much to Danny Rodriguez. Thank you very much to our honor guard representing the New York City Fire Department and Police Department. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden in New York City, for the featured bout of the evening, the finale of the World Middleweight Championship Series, brought to you by Don King Productions and Madison Square Garden in association with TVKO, Bally's Atlantic City, Caesars Atlantic City, and Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers. This unification bout coming away is sanctioned by the WBA, President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Gonzalo Lopez Silvero, the WBC President Jose Suleiman, Supervisor Mario Latraverse, the IBF President Hiawatha Knight, Supervisor Joseph Dwyer, and the New York State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Mel Southard, commissioners Jerome Becker and Mark Kornstein. Introducing to you our three judges scoring this bout from ringside, from Oneida Castle, New York, Don Ackerman. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Stanley Christodoulou. And from Bangkok, Thailand, Anik Hongtongkam. And the third man to the ring, our referee in charge of this bout, working in this his 93rd world title bout, Steve Smoger. All right, fans, here we go with a bout you've all been waiting for. 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Madison Square Garden, it is time for the main event of the evening. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red, white, and blue trunks, hailing from and representing Coupe Alto, Puerto Rico. He weighed in at 158 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with 40 wins, no losses, 33 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the 5-time world champion in 3 weight divisions, the current WBA middleweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome El Gran Campeón Puertorriqueño, introducing Felix Tito Trinidad. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with silver trim, fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at a trim and ready 157 pounds. His record stands at 39 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 28 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is making the 14th defense of his title. Here is the WBC and IBF middleweight champion of the world, introducing Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins. Once again, a referee in charge, Steve Smoger, now to give instructions.
Gentlemen, we're giving you instructions at the weigh-in, both in English and Spanish. Please obey my commands. Protect yourself at all times. Respect the belt. Touch gloves. Touch them up. Respect, respect. Touch them, Bernard. Let's go, let's go.
The fight to survive and thrive have always made New York a fight town, now more than ever. Bernard Hopkins and Felix Trinidad personify that spirit.
Bernard Hopkins claims he wants to test Trinidad's chin in the first round. Trinidad's father says his son is going to knock Hopkins out in the first round. Sometimes all that is just talk. Sometimes it means real fireworks from the opening bell. Trinidad knocked Joppy down in the first. He knocked Vargas down twice in the first.
Trinidad can't be waiting with this boxer. He's got to get off. Bernard Hopkins' job is to stay close, make this guy discouraged, make him look to the referee and start complaining early. Because that referee's speech didn't impress me at all.
Hard right hand over the top by Hopkins. Partially blocked by Trinidad, but serious enough to make him move back into the corner. Crowd overwhelmingly in favor of Trinidad, as they demonstrated in pre-fight pageantry.
Trinidad likes to have room when he throws his punches. It's up to Hopkins to stay close as he can.
Hopkins prizes his skills as an infighter. Many experts expect that Hopkins at some point will try to get up into Trinidad's chest and take away his punching range.
And he hasn't done that yet. The old saying is, Oscar De La Hoya moved, I'm going to move. But yet, that's not the way to fight Trinidad, because you lose energy as the rounds go on.
As De La Hoya learned. They trade jabs through much of round one. Biggest blows so far, a Hopkins right hand over the top.
Trinidad like to stay paused with his on the ball of his right foot and just throw that lead with that right hand.
You always compare him to a sprinter, the way he gets up on that front foot.
He's on the mark, and Hopkins' job is to keep him off the mark.
Trinidad lands a left hook as Hopkins backs away from their first chest-to-chest clinch. Hopkins tries to go inside again, working to try to get at Trinidad's body. Both fighters try lead right hands.
Hopkins just not figure yet how to get close. Now he's got it. He's got to keep it just like that. That's the fight he won.
Holding with the left hand upstairs as he hit with the right hand downstairs. Smoker hasn't yet been a part of the action. He's the third man in the ring, the referee.
Bernard Hopkins want to keep hugging and pushing this guy. Keep this a wrestling match in his favor.
Right hand inside by Bernard. Hopkins again lands a right. Trinidad misses his. Hopkins lands his own. Round one is a bit of a scuffle. Hopkins got a little of what he wanted and landed two right hands.
And showed that he's not going to be walking into that left hook if he can help it.
I need you to jab, okay? I need you to jab, all right? Jab for me, baby. Jab. Stay out of the corner. The fight yours in the center of the ring, and I want you to jab. Pump that jab. We worked on it, so let's pump it. Pump it and get the jab right. Hold your head up a little bit.
All right. The same thing you did in the first round. Let's continue that. Everyone calm, you know, be tranquil. He can't beat me. I got him. Are you okay now, Tito? You gotta move, Tito. You got that jab. Make sure the jab is first.
Well, it wasn't a first round knockout. Plan B.
It wasn't even a highly artistic first round. By CompuBox numbers, it was a missed punch fest. Trinidad was 4 out of 27. Hopkins was 6 out of 43, according to CompuBox. Harold Letterman scored the round for Tito Trinidad.
Hopkins is being real smart. He jabs, yet he understands that he has sort of a reach advantage with the height there, and he's out of the way once he does that jabbing.
And moving primarily to his left, trying to get away from the deadly left of Trinidad.
You really want to make Trinidad throw a lot of lefts, because he prefers to hit you with that right, then throw that left hook.
George, is it fair to guess that Hopkins either wants to be way outside or way inside?
Yeah, he just hasn't figured out this guy yet. Trying to get relaxed in there, and that's the hard job. But to move around, he's not comfortable moving, I can tell you that. Trinidad needs room, and that's benefits Trinidad when the fight is at long range.
So again, they trade from long range in round 2. Neither fighter really into an offensive rhythm yet. Trinidad threw a limited number of punches for him in round 1. Now he lands a right hand across the top. Trinidad trying to close the range down and step in on Hopkins.
He's trying to close the range, but yet he wants to keep some distance so that long right hand can come. So he doesn't want to completely close it. Just looking to get right on the mark.
Hopkins sticks the jabs and moves.
This is unusual that Hopkins would give Trinidad this kind of respect in the first couple of rounds. Very surprised. That's what you don't want to do with
You
this.
thought that Hopkins would gamble more against Trinidad early?
Just jump right on him. He said he wasn't afraid. Talking the talk, now you got to jump on him.
Hopkins beginning to unveil his jab and sticking it accurately for the moment.
Once he tastes any of Trinidad's power, then you're really going to see the motorboat move. Hopkins can see that Trinidad only want to land a hard shot, nothing else. And that's a dangerous position to be in when you're in the ring with a guy, knowing that he's intent.
Hard right hand by Hopkins. Biggest blow of the fight. Trinidad momentarily stunned.
Bell, 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 bell. Bell, bell, bell.
How do you feel, Tito?
Muy bien, no te hizo daño.
He didn't hurt you, did he?
Pero no te descuides.
But don't get careless now.
No te me descuides en ningún
Don't
momento.
get careless now
Sigue
at
con
the
esa pelea,
moment.
que ya mismito
You
que va a meter
gotta
la
go
mano
that
en
way.
tú.
Make sure
Ya
you're
mismito
gonna
que va a
put
dar
it.
un buen golpe eres tú. Que ya lo viste, ya lo he dado.
Hopkins has been working at distance with his jab, hoping to get Trinidad to come to him. Found him in range. The punch was a little high. Trinidad might have been momentarily stunned, but took the punch well.
CompuBox numbers in round 2. Hopkins 10 out of 40. Trinidad 2 out of 19. So Felix Trinidad in 2 rounds has thrown, by CompuBox numbers, only 46 punches. Hopkins throwing twice as many, not landing all that much, but the one big right hand was the biggest blow of the fight.
You don't want to get a kid like that mad. Once you hit him once, get back on him and do something.
Tito's father asking his son to work the jab. He tries to get started with it here, firing the left hand again.
Trinidad is on the mark.
What do you mean by that, George?
He's on the ball of that right foot. When you see him up on his right foot like that, he's on the mark, getting ready to deliver like a track runner or something, take off. You got to keep him off that position. You got to keep him out of that position.
And how? How do you keep him out of that position?
By moving to his left, so he always have to pick that foot up and set it down. Now he's off. Now
Hopkins says he'll be watching his feet as much as his hands, just for that reason.
Hopkins varying the pace just a little, leading with the left hook there instead of the jab. Now Trinidad fires his own right hand across the top and gets the top of Hopkins' head.
he allowed Trinidad to get set that time, and he paid for it.
The range is closing up a little. Trinidad moving closer. And Tito beginning to loosen up and throw a few more punches. than was the case in the first couple of rounds.
Hopkins' back is starting to touch the ring, the ropes a lot more. That's what you don't want, letting your back touch the ropes with Trinidad.
So you think Hopkins wants to stay in the middle of the ring and box with
Tito? Yeah, he can box, and he's always successful if he boxes, but you don't want your back touching those ropes.
Hands up.
You don't need the whole ring to box, just the middle of it. That's the fight that Hopkins won. Hug and push and hit.
You may notice that there's some printing on the back of Bernard Hopkins, who rented it out for about $100,000 to a .com gambling service, and then bet the $100,000 on himself to win the fight.
Either way, the service win, huh?
Yeah, either way, the tattoo's already fading as the sweat pours off of Hopkins' body here in round 3.
But Bernard Hopkins isn't fading.
No, and the bet looks pretty good, at least for the moment, as he gives Trinidad a spirited fight.
Bernard Hopkins is dictating the tempo, and he's making Trinidad think about coming more to him.
Hopkins sticks the jab right on the point of Trinidad's chin as round 3 comes to a close.
Okay, how do you feel? Deep breath, deep breath. With your hands up, you got to keep your hands up. It's going to be easy now. It's only a matter of time before you get him. You're going to have it to get him there.
Not the hard shot, it's that quick shot inside. You get him out of there. Yeah, rest.
Get that corner on your way out.
Bernard Hopkins showing that a Philadelphia fighter can box as well as brawl, whatever his reputation is.
Round 4 begins. Harold Letterman, how'd you score the first 3?
Okay, Jim, I got a 2-1, 29-28, Bernard Hopkins. Jim, the first round, I thought Tito Trinidad caught Hopkins good, and Bernard would take that step to the right and rush in. Tito put him on the way out. But rounds 2 and 3, it's that Hopkins left jab, boxing from the outside, the occasional straight right hand, landing the cleaner shots, outboxing him.
Now Trinidad has Hopkins moving in on him. That's what you want. You want Hopkins to get that brave to try to follow this hard-hitting Trinidad.
Trinidad opens up, lands 2 power shots. Hopkins tries to fire back immediately. Trinidad misses with the right. Hopkins lands his own. Backs Tito up. Fires the left hook. Trinidad getting as good as he dishes out. Now lands the short right hand inside. Power against power. Which man is stronger at close range?
This is not a good idea for Hopkins to mix it up with Trinidad. He's done an excellent job of using his brains. Don't go back to Philadelphia too soon.
Well, perhaps he's realized so far that he can deal with Trinidad's punch.
No, that punch can't be dealt with, Larry. You got to stay smart. Must stay smart.
Don't punch, don't punch, don't punch. Step, step, step.
Felix Trinidad only threw 67 punches in the first 3 rounds of the fight by CompuBox numbers. That's a very limited offensive output. He has begun to fire here in round 4, but Hopkins is firing back and lands a right hand to the body there.
Clean jabs by Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins said that this fight would be his defining moment. So far, he's had pockets of brilliance and seems to be getting Trinidad, for the most part, to fight his fight. But there have been moments here in round 4 when Tito seemed to be turning the tide.
Hopkins intending to move like this is a good idea that he did weigh in at 157. That can help him.
Off the neck, off the neck.
As Trinidad sized Hopkins up in the corner, Hopkins landed 3 punches in a row. Then Felix went to the body as Bernard moved away.
Bernard, once again, is spending too much time on the ropes.
So far, Hopkins has completely neutralized the left hand of Trinidad. Can Trinidad find a way to put him on the defensive without that left hand? The right hand fails there.
Hard right hand by Hopkins, lands flush. And it was a close enough round that that last big right hand by Hopkins may have been the decisive blow.
Looking right at him. Don't let him out jab you. He wants to jab because he don't want you to jab. He don't like that jab. You jab with him. All right? Quick shot. Don't worry about the big shot. I want to see the quick shot. All right?
He's not gonna hit you. You gotta take it easy. Don't get careless now. That was the 5th round, and now with calm. You gotta keep your hands up. Yeah, you gotta keep your hands up so you can get him. Okay, real close, real tight.
Bernard Hopkins' trainer, Bowie Fisher, is not nearly as well known as Felix Trinidad Sr., but Fisher is a 73-year-old proven pro who knows every trick in the book and has done a brilliant job of training Hopkins throughout his career.
He told him to try to jab with Trinidad. That's not a good idea. Don't jab with him. You catch him off balance and then jab him, because he turns that jab into a hook once you start trying to step in with power. Trinidad does. He will wait until he's finished and then get him.
Hopkins blocking Trinidad's jab with his right glove. Bernard continually moving to his left to stay away from Trinidad's left, and he steps in and bangs his right hand against the side of Trinidad's head. Hopkins misses the right, Trinidad misses the left. Hopkins fires a little left hook inside.
Hopkins is doing a good job of staying over there, making Trinidad throw those left hooks. That's where you want to be, because he's a bit more accurate with his right hands, Trinidad is. Make him miss with left hook. Don't try to make him miss with the right hands.
Hopkins a little bit quicker with his jab. Now Trinidad corners him, tries to step in. Bernard steps away. Solid left by Trinidad. Trinidad seeming to take a little velocity off the left, just trying to land it.
Hopkins is not making the mistake that Bernard, Joppy did by letting Trinidad lay on his left hand. He holds him.
And certainly not making the mistake that both Joppy and Vargas made of standing in front of Trinidad. He hasn't done much of that.
Hopkins is outboxing Trinidad, and he's winning most of the rallies.
Yeah, but Hopkins has used a lot of his footwork, legs up, moving around. That's not good.
He's got his back against the ropes. He's living dangerously. He's still outscoring Trinidad. He's landing 2 punches to every one for Trinidad.
Step.
The bell, and Hopkins dishes out twice as much. And the crowd comes alive.
Okay, deep breath now. Take a deep breath. We're okay. We got him now. But when you exchange punches, make sure you come back with something else. You got to it. You're too strong for him. You got him already. He hit you and he can't do nothing to you.
Where's the professor, baby? Quick right hand. Put it at the shoulder, X, not the head. Put it at the shoulder. Deep breath, baby. Take a deep breath.
Trinidad in close quarters. The bell rings. Trinidad throws a left hook. And as Bernard Hopkins says, he's not going to ask the referee to change things. He'll take it into his own hands.
When Oscar De La Hoya came out and appeared to many eyes at ringside to win the first 7 rounds against Felix Trinidad, none of the 3 judges sitting at ringside scored it exactly that way. Right now, there's a chance that in the eyes of many here, Bernard Hopkins has won the first 5 rounds against Trinidad. Will the judges once again insist on giving rounds to Trinidad when he doesn't seem to be winning any of them? That's what happened against De La Hoya.
This is the kind of champ, Trinidad, that you're going to have to knock him out to win it. You may as well forget trying to win this thing on points. If you want the title that he possessed, you got to knock him out.
So you're saying that Bernard shouldn't fool himself into believing that he's succeeding just because he seems to be winning the round?
No, you can't coach yourself to a victory with a champion like this. The judges are not going to allow you to do it. And I think this pace is a little too much for Bernard Hopkins. He's used too much of his legs early on.
Well, certainly Trinidad hasn't overused his. He's only thrown 23 punches per round, which is a very low punch output by CompuBox numbers. Now Trinidad lands a big right hand against the ropes, but Hopkins steps away and lands in return. Remember Trinidad's amazing stamina. Hopkins lands a right, Trinidad lands a left. Felix is a marathon runner who builds the tempo from round to round, and he's trying to build it with the left hook right here. 4 straight left hands by Trinidad.
Hopkins blocked almost every one of those punches.
And there's no sign yet that Hopkins is wearing down.
Oh yes, there are a lot of signs.
But Trinidad's cornering him. What are the signs that he's wearing down?
He went to his ring, to his corner, and laid his legs flat out. Trinidad is still sitting in a sitting position.
Hopkins looks pretty good here as he backs Trinidad up with a combination. A furious pace in round 6, by far the best round of the fight.
Back to the ropes again, Hopkins.
They begin to trade power shots at close range, and this is Trinidad's game.
You can't play power shots with Trinidad because every time he hits you, you are still lingering on. The damage lingers on and starts to accumulate.
Trinidad ripping left hooks now. And he puts his Hopkins head back, and Smoker says, don't do it again. Round 6 was a beauty.
Keep doing your job.
Stay focused. You're trying to foul, baby.
Keep doing your job. Don't give it no excuses for no bullshit out there. Keep doing your job. You're doing all right. Only thing I want to see is that quick right hand. The quick right hand.
Por favor.
Tito, please.
Solo bate cabeza. Sí, cabeza.
Sí,
Seguro, seguro.
Watch the heads.
¿Está bien?
Sí, seguro.
Ganando.
Sí, estamos ganando. Tito, ya mismo tú lo pones, está bien y se va.
Hopkins with 2 left hands, quick little left hands. That was a clean, hard shot, which Trinidad seemed to take well. Trinidad aggressive, perhaps a little frustrated at the end.
You're not going to find this kind of determination often in a fight as you see in Felix Trinidad.
Why don't you want to give Hopkins more credit, George? He's fighting a terrific fight so far.
He's doing a great job. But this determination of this guy keeps coming back. It just takes everything out of your legs, takes everything out of your heart.
Well, they're both champions.
Between rounds, Felix Trinidad asked his father in the corner, am I winning the fight? And Trinidad Sr. said, yes, you are. Harold Letterman, how have you scored it through 6?
Okay, Jim. 4 rounds to 2. 58-56. Bernard Hopkins. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I'd ever see Bernard Hopkins win his fight with an outside game, but that's what he's doing. Staying outside, popping a jab, coming back with the straight right hands. In that round 6, I just thought Felix Trinidad was a little bit the aggressor, got into better shots. I've given Trinidad rounds 1 and 6, all the rest to Hopkins.
Hopkins trying to load up with that quick right hand. Everything is trying to execute what his trainer told him to do, throw the quick right hand. And Trinidad catches you in that exchange, it's top trouble time.
More and more, George, Trinidad is able to land his left hook. Why?
Well, Hopkins is giving him the left hook because if he's able to land one jab and stay a little closer, he's always able to get the left hook off. I don't worry about the left hook if I'm
Don't punch, don't punch.
Hopkins. I worry about that right hand.
4 punches in combination by Hopkins there, finishing up to the body. Trinidad stalking relentlessly, imposing mental pressure on Hopkins as he does on all of his opponents. Even when technically outgunned, Felix Trinidad is always coming.
Always coming. Good thing about Hopkins is he's not allowing Trinidad to get up on that right foot. He's making him keep it flat. That's what you want. If he's going to hit you, let him be out of position to do it good. Ooh, feinting.
Chopping right hand by Hopkins. The second one partially blocked. Crowd oohing and eyeing as Hopkins continues to score, exceeding the expectations of many.
That's not like a Philadelphia fighter at all, feinting.
George, there's been a lot of great boxers out of Philadelphia, and you couldn't survive the famous gym wars of Philadelphia if you couldn't box.
Yeah, this guy's boxing tonight.
Oscar De La Hoya exposed the vulnerability of Trinidad, and Bernard Hopkins is trying to use that model to dominate the fight.
Yes, particularly Trinidad's vulnerability to feints and movement. Hopkins said to me, I'm no De La Hoya, but I saw that Felix fell for every feint against Oscar, so I'll be using them too.
You're closing in on him, son. As long as you keep that jab going, you're home. You're going to be home free with it. All right? You cannot out-jab you.
On my head.
Okay, let's see. If you get up there, you throw some punches so we can get him. Now, you got to work with him real good. Let's see if we can punch up and down. You got to throw punches. One hand winner. When you get him, the fight will be over. He's not going to be able to take your punches. But you got to know that your hands have to be up. Keep your hands up.
Three judges, one from the United States, one from Thailand, one from South Africa. Maybe the verdict falls into their hands, although Felix Trinidad certainly will want to try to put Hopkins on his back. In round 7 by CompuBox numbers, Hopkins landed 18 punches to only 6 for Trinidad. If you go by CompuBox numbers, Hopkins has outlanded Tito in every round.
You know, there are a lot of people out there who never heard of Bernard Hopkins. He hasn't had a lot of big television fights. We're hearing about him and seeing him now.
You're seeing the hunger of a 36-year-old man who's waited a long time for this moment.
A geriatric wonder.
Tito gets him against the ropes.
I'd like to see what happened in the 10, 11, and 12 with the geriatrics.
He's now starting to land some hard chopping punches on Tito, but Tito is taking them well. And he didn't go undefeated and have 20 championship fights by not being able to take punches well.
And Art is trying to make Trinidad walk into his traps now. He's setting traps.
You can go back 8 years in this sport and you won't find a fight in which either man was declared a loser. And it's abundantly clear now that neither man came here tonight expecting to lose. Hopkins believes. Whether Trinidad will be able to beat the belief out of him remains to be seen. But right now, Bernard is showing a multiplicity of skills as he continues to outbox Tito.
I don't believe what I'm seeing. I don't believe it.
And now Trinidad shuffles his own feet to try to dazzle Bernard, and Bernard says, "You shuffle a while, I'll hit you."
Trinidad is playing into Hopkins' hand now with the foolishness. His job was always, he's been always the pure business fighter.
Neither man has gone to the body as much as he might. Maybe the critical difference will come in the next few rounds if one man decides to focus on the ribcage. They're both terrific body punches.
I think the body punches is gone out of the window now.
Tito ripping with both hands, trying to break Bernard down with power shots. Hopkins countering back twice with the left hook.
Don't punch, don't punch. Stop.
All night, Trinidad has been trying to lay on Hopkins' left hand, but Hopkins seems to get his left hand right out of the trap and hold Trinidad. If he's able to just lay on that left hand of Hopkins once, he's going to get him with that overhand right.
Hopkins lands a nice right hand just after the bell as Smoker shouts, "No, no, 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 no." And here's a graphic that demonstrates the degree to which Hopkins has dominated. CompuBox punch stat numbers outlanding Tito Trinidad in every one of the 8 rounds so far. Remember, the judges do not see these graphics.
Walk the arm. Swim without getting wet. Fight smart.
Deep breath for me. All right.
Separate the champions from the legends.
The 2-3 of quick shots inside this Southern sport, getting deep now. Get him out of there.
Okay. How we doing? I want to know how we doing.
Sometimes it takes a long time to be young. Bernard Hopkins at 36 still seems young, fighting one of the great fighters of recent times.
Age has got nothing to do with it tonight. All about the best fighter who can take it.
Harold Letterman gave Tito Trinidad the first round, I think, generously. Now, even on Letterman's card, you're reaching the stage where Trinidad would need a knockout to win if Hopkins can stand up the rest of the way.
Trinidad has tried getting those left uppercuts. He's tried. And that's where he can ring home if he can just get them in.
And the biggest thing Hopkins has accomplished by my lights is he's just refusing to bend to Tito's will. He's still making Tito fight his fight.
All of that determination, Hopkins has not been 1 ounce. Maybe he should have.
You know, fellas, remember what Mark Antonio Barrera did against Prince Ahmed? Everybody talked about him walking into big punches. He came out and put on a masterful show of controlled aggression. We're seeing that Bernard Hopkins is not a one-dimensional fighter by a lot.
That's the big surprise of the night. He's been able to stay on his legs whenever he needed them. He was able to move out of the way.
Another big surprise is that it is so far a clean fight without a single penalized foul.
A shot.
The closest we came was Trinidad elbowing Hopkins beyond the rope. Bowie Fischer tells Bernard Hopkins if he keeps firing the jab, he can't lose the fight. He's still firing the jab energetically.
There's Trinidad able to lay on Hopkins' left hand now. That's what he's been trying to do all night. Overhand right on top of it. He's
Go punch. I'm here. Go punch. Stop.
That's what he's waiting on.
Trinidad got in a good shot on Hopkins' neck. Bernard lands a straight right hand up the pipe, and that gives him room to move off the ropes. And for the first time in the fight, Hopkins is grinning at Tito Trinidad.
He was able to hit him with the right hand and move out of the way.
And there's another big right hand. And again, he moves out of the way.
Very smart. Didn't say, I heard you, I'm going to get you some more. Hit you and get out of the way.
And another right hand for Hopkins. This is a cold, clinical, totally professional performance by a true professional prize fighter, Bernard Hopkins.
Tito, when you got him close, make sure you use that jab and then the right hand. You got to throw more punches. Don't let him push you. If he starts pushing you, push him back. And if he comes close to you, work with him.
No rest, baby. No rest.
Here we see straight right hand, but Hopkins is not loading up on these right hands. He's throwing short, quick punches and getting out of the way of the return.
Like I said, cold and clinical. He is not allowing himself to get into the heat of Trinidad's passion. He's boxing, moving, and winning.
And that's hard to do when you hurt a guy and don't go after the finish. This man is being extremely smart tonight, Hopkins.
Once again between rounds, Tito Trinidad asked his father if he's winning, and once again, Trinidad Sr. said, yes, you are.
I think Trinidad is asking that question because he doesn't really think he's winning.
No, I think he wore the most discouraged look I've ever seen on his face between rounds. Harold, how do you have it going into the 10th?
Okay, Jim, 7 rounds to 2, 88-83, Bernard Hopkins. You know what I can't understand is Bernard Hopkins and Felix Trinidad standing face to face. Bernard Hopkins gets hooked first every time he lands the jab with a straight right. You think Felix would come in on an angle, but he just stays right in front of him. Bernard gets off first and hurts him all the time.
When a guy is as good a puncher as Trinidad, he depends on that. He expects that somewhere along the way it will pay the difference. And if it doesn't, what are his answers against Bernard Hopkins?
Trinidad got the left hand on. He's leaning on the Hopkins' left hand now. That's what he wants. Hopkins better be careful. That's it. Puts his weight on your left hand and throws his overhand right. Oh, Hopkins beating him to the punch, though.
You know, George, Trinidad has landed some big shots, but he hasn't hurt Hopkins. After the Joppy fight, there seemed to be no question about Trinidad's viability as a 160-pound fighter, a middleweight. But maybe the question reopens itself as the result of the way that Hopkins has been able to take Trinidad's punches tonight.
Oh, it's not about that. Hopkins has been extremely smart tonight. Extremely smart.
Trinidad is spending a lot of himself right here because he's been taking punishment. We're seeing the heart of a real champion in Trinidad because he's come through some serious fire.
This is the determination of Felix Trinidad.
Trinidad is going to have to take some chances.
And it's being matched by the determination of Bernard Hopkins. What an awesome show. What a great, great fight as we come down the stretch in the 10th round.
Blood coming out of Trinidad's nose.
Bernard Hopkins won't take no for an answer. Steve Smoger trying to pull Hopkins' trunks up. Clock still running. Trinidad running out of time. Most of the crowd on its feet as they watch the two fighters trade through the round and beyond.
And Trinidad almost looks out on his feet.
How you feeling, Tito? You okay? Can you you fight another round? Can you fight another round? Let me know. Keep your hands up. You gotta box him. You gotta box him. 11th round coming up.
The end of the round, Bernard Hopkins' patience during that fight resulted in that round, but you heard the question in Trinidad's corner: can you fight another round?
And that was the ring doctor who wanted to know if Trinidad could continue. So the doctors are watching Trinidad now as Hopkins comes off a big 10th round where he landed 33 of 86 punches. They go into the 11th. Hopkins has been beyond 10 rounds 14 times in his career. Trinidad 8. Hopkins with a prohibitive lead on Harold Letterman's scorecard as we come to the last 2 rounds.
It was a push. A lot of punches, but it was a push. Trinidad is very timid right now.
Hopkins senses that Trinidad is weakening.
Very weak. You got to be careful with him. He's still that powerful puncher.
Good uppercut by Hopkins. Trinidad visibly tiring for the moment. Bernard Hopkins bet $100,000 on himself to win the fight.
Guess he doesn't want to lose that $100,000.
This is another huge round for Hopkins. Trinidad has landed maybe 2 punches in the round. Bernard is taking target practice.
I doubt if his corner will let him come out another round.
Don't punch. Thank you.
His daddy's still telling him he's winning.
No, his dad may have to tell him to sit it out. Hopkins is dangerous now. All of a sudden, he's starting to smell victory and even a knockout. And he's patient with it.
Overwhelmingly pro-Trinidad crowd trying to lift their man. Hopkins just keeps pounding away.
No. Break. Step back. Hands up.
Astonishing, absolutely astonishing performance.
Sometimes when a fighter is labeled a kind of a genius, he's bound to disappoint you.
Big right hand.
He hasn't disappointed us, Larry. This guy has been a fox and a terror, Bernard Hopkins.
Trinidad is hurt.
Everything we would not expect, he's been that and more.
Everything. Trinidad is hurt from the accumulation of punishment as round 11 comes to a close.
Looking good, son. You can't stay there now. Last round coming up, you got to close. You got to close big, all right? Close big. Last round.
Last round, baby. How you look? Soldier, do what you do. Pop that check.
Let me clean his nose. This is the last round. How you feeling, Kiko? How you feeling? I'm okay. You gotta use that jab when you come in. Now, he's gonna come after you now. So you...
This is my back.
Put his back there.
My back. Let my back. With the water, boy. You on? You got it on, baby. It's in the computer.
By CompuBox numbers, Tito Trinidad threw only 14 punches in the 11th round. He looked like a fighter with very little left in the tank. Now let's see what he's got for what might be the last-ditch round of his career. Harold, how do you have it coming to the 12th?
Hopkins, 108, 101, 9 rounds to 2. Bernard Hopkins. I only gave Tito Trinidad rounds 1 and 6. All the rest to Bernard Hopkins, boxing beautifully from the outside.
Get out.
Hopkins better go for safety and get a knockout. You just can't trust judges.
Well, Hopkins still wants to fight. He's not sitting on his lead. He's seen somebody try to do that against Trinidad without success. Hopkins imposing his will and his skill on the man who is tonight the lesser fighter.
Trinidad continues to come.
He'll never quit. He'll never stop coming.
No retreat.
Oh, huge right hand. Huge right hand by Hopkins. Down goes Trinidad. I'm not sure Tito can get up. He's got the desire. He's never been knocked out. This fight is over. Steve Smoker stops it. No.
Bernard
Tito Trinidad comes in.
has done it.
He knocked out Trinidad.
Bernard Hopkins has put himself up there in the list of all the great middleweights. His 14th consecutive defense of his title. Trinidad, a beaten man. He was beaten boxing, and then he was beaten physically. He was beaten with the smarts of Bernard Hopkins. He was beaten with the heart of Bernard Hopkins. What a performance.
I'd like to find my words so I could eat them.
Oh, what brilliance. Oh, what brilliance. Here's a guy who tonight, just as he has through his whole career, did it his way. He insisted on his individuality, his right to govern his career and his life on his own terms. It's cost him a lot. He got it all back tonight.
You know, there was a lot of inspiration in New York City for the United States flag, and he bit into the inspiration.
There's your winner. There's your winner in a big way. And that Felix Tito Trinidad, who had never before been so physically beaten up in his career, never before knocked out, goes down in the middle of the 12th round and cannot continue as Bernard Hopkins punctuates a huge and thrilling and unexpected victory with a sensational power shot show in the 12th round. Oh, what a right hand, George.
What a right hand. Every shot. This guy was so, I never thought his legs could last, but I guess those 150 pounds, exactly what he needed to move around.
157 pounds, 3 pounds under the limit. Some people thought, oh no, he'll be too weak. He wasn't too weak. He was too strong.
He tricked us all. He tricked us.
A thoroughly dominant performance from start to finish. Hopkins, by CompuBox numbers, landing more punches than Trinidad in every single round of the fight.
Hopkins never did anything dirty. The referee had not a chance to disqualify him.
No, it was a great, great fight all the way through.
Never did anything dirty.
And what a show of determination and will by Felix Trinidad. Thoroughly beaten throughout most of the fight, but fighting like a winner who believed in himself. He never stopped trying and coming.
Never stopped trying. A champion to the end.
Scorecards show that Hopkins was headed for the easy victory. On the American scorecard of Don Ackerman, he was up 109 to 100 going to the 12th. On Stanley Christodoulou of South Africa's scorecard, he was up 107 to 102. And on Anak Hongtongkam's card, the scorer from Thailand, he was up 107 to 102. So Hopkins had won the fight on the scorecards as they entered the 12th, just as we expected was the case.
Without any trust of the judges, he went for the knockout.
Now let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. to announce the official particulars on Hopkins' triumph.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 18 seconds in round number 12. Our referee in charge, Steve Smoger, recognizes the corner and stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout tonight, earning his place in boxing history as he is now the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Final CompuBox numbers. And increasingly throughout the fight, it became a CompuBox landslide for Hopkins, landing 131 more punches, throwing 324 more punches, landing at a higher connect percentage, to the shock and surprise of many, landing the bigger power shots, winning big and going away. Final power punch numbers, Hopkins landing 68 more, throwing 165 more, dominating increasingly down the stretch. Again, what can you say about one of the most shockingly brilliant performances we've seen in the ring in recent years? And Larry Merchant stands by now with the winner.
Thank you very much, Jim.
I ain't great yet, but I will be. Watch.
Bernard Hopkins is telling people, I'm not great yet, but I will be. At 36, he still thinks he has time to get better. Bernard, why were you able to master a fighter who is considered so devastating?
Well, first, Larry, I'd like to thank HBO, all the people. I'd like to thank my advisor and my friend, Lou DiBella, for giving me the opportunity not to take the bad rap that was on Bernard Hopkins. And I'd like to thank you for being not biased, but being truthful, and everybody at HBO. Larry, I'd like to first, hope that the troops and things work out okay. With America, USA is strong. We would knock anybody out that try to go against us. Larry, I trained hard for this fight. I always have a good soundbite to give everyone. I'm not a dull guy, but I wanted to show my greatness, and I believe I came halfway doing that.
Was there a little misdirection in you indicating that you were just going to try to dive into him and smother him when you knew all along that you felt that you could show the skills to outbox him that people didn't think you had?
Yes, Larry. One thing I knew, and I mentioned it all through the media, I said, once Trinidad find out he can't hurt me, the fight's over. Larry, I got one of the Philadelphia chins, iron chins, but I just happen to have skills with it. But I knew, Larry, that if I take my time, set my shots up, as long as the fight come, the more pain that I was going to put on Trinidad. I just like to thank HBO for giving me the opportunity. I just thank you for saying the good things about me when I do good. I ain't gonna let you talk.
How were you able to avoid his potent left hand?
Well, Larry, you take the best weapon from the guy that they're used against you. If the guy has a gun, you get to the gun. You don't run from it because you got a better chance on smothering or got a better chance on getting to the gun. I had to take his left hand away from him and smother his shots and keep my defense up, a good defense. But I do have a good defense just as well as an offense. Trinidad is a left hook guy. That's all he had. And I've been watching him for years. Once I took his left hook away, and every time he set up, I watched his leg and his feet, and I knew to move to the opposite way.
All right, let's take a look at the last round at the knockout. Now, you knew he was weakening from several rounds before this, right?
Yes, I knew right about the fourth round when I knew I hit him with a good counter right hook, and he sort of dazed and he said, ugh, and I wanted to follow up, but not follow up recklessly, because I know he's, he got a decent dish in the left hook, but he never hurt me, Larry. I mean it. He never hurt me. No shape, form in his fight.
All right, so in the last couple of rounds, you were fighting with more abandon and then the control you were fighting in before.
Yes, I was doing just that. Larry, I don't know what you're going to do after this fight, this interview stuff, but you ought to be a trainer in the corner because, you got the blueprint on Bernard Hopkins and you read it well. Exactly. Just what you said is what I was doing.
God bless the fire department.
God bless the fire department in Philadelphia, the police, Philadelphia, all around the world. Larry, they are the Warriors. I'm serious.
What does it mean to you now to have
in Philadelphia
tied Carlos Monzon's middleweight record of 14 consecutive defenses?
It's great, Larry. It's history. But I want to be judged by my peers, not by me reading my own articles. I think when it's all done, Bernard Hopkins will be known as one of the greatest middleweights that came along at all times. I don't want to say that. I want the world and the public to judge me, and I can live with whatever they come up with. But in my heart, I knew that I would get another chance in life to redeem myself from what I used to be into what I am now. I can show example not only for boxing, but for people in general. Larry, I am the American dream. I am the American story.
Thank you very much, Bernard. Congratulations
Larry,
again.
As always, you're looking younger, not older.
So do you. Jim?
I said to Bernard Hopkins last week, do you find it at all ironic that a guy who spent 7.5 years in a state penitentiary feels like exhibiting patriotism as you do at this time? And he said, hey, in any other country in the world, I wouldn't have gotten
the second chance.
Yeah, you pay your dues and you come back out, and that's an inspiration to everyone who's been in jail. Come on out. Who cares about your past? We want to know what you're going to do today.
It's about craft, George. It's about craft,
it
and we saw a craftsman at work tonight.
I've seen, I told you, I was trying to find my words so I could eat them. I said he would lose. Yum, yummy, yummy.
Hey, listen, I mean, here's how underappreciated he's been. Some of the smartest boxing fans I know called me this week to ask, does this guy really have a chance against Trinidad? I said, guys, he hasn't lost a fight in 8 years. You know, no fighter like that doesn't have a chance, as great as Trinidad is.
Yeah, he tricked us all. He tricked us all, and he taught us a lesson. Never give up on a guy who's had some experience, some skills, punching power, and Philadelphia gems. Don't give up on him.
What can Tito learn from the way Hopkins took away his left hand?
I don't think there's a lot for him to learn. He lost. He hasn't lost before. He can come back and be better. There's not a whole lot to learn. You lose, you win some, and you lose some. Just pick yourself up and let's start a new career.
I'm sure that's what he's going to say to Larry Merchant right now.
Papa, Trinidad. Great fighters fight each other. Trinidad, I thank you. One for you getting this tournament. I wouldn't have got a chance to show my greatness. But anytime, hold up, I'm not just saying this ain't politics. I run my own show, I'm my own manager. Whenever you need a chance to redeem yourself, I got to get the millions, we can do it. I'm not a guy that duck people. All right, that's on record. Y'all hear that, reporters? Great show, Trinidad. I will come back to San Juan. Listen, me and Lou DeBell Entertainment, Don King will come back to San Juan, and I'm a man. I will apologize to the Puerto Rican fans for throwing the flag down from my heart, because that's a true champion. We set it up within a month, and I'll be there. Is that good? Thank you. I hope y'all accept it.
Dígale que yo.
Don, you hear that?
Yo quisiera eso también. Yo quisiera.
I would like
in the same arena, and I want to apologize to the Puerto Rican fans, but they are great people. They are my people. They got black in them.
One second.
Okay.
Yo quisiera
Don King, I like to thank Don King Production.
Que quiera ir a Puerto Rico.
I like to thank Don.
Yo quisiera también, como él dijo, que quisiera disculparse con todos los puertorriqueños. En San Juan, donde sea, quisiera que pueda ir a San Juan y disculparse con todos los puertorriqueños personalmente.
He says he would go to Puerto Rico and ask to be forgiven for what he did. I would love for him to do that.
Thank you very much. Tito, were you surprised or shocked at how well Bernhard Hopkins was able to box?
¿Te sorprendió o te asombró lo bueno que él pudo boxear?
Sí, yo sé que yo siempre lo he dicho, que él es un gran peleador, un hombre que tiene mucha defensa. No sé si recuerdan, esas son mis palabras. Y demostró en la noche de hoy que es un gran campeón. Yo vine a ganar, pero me ganó, eso yo lo acepto.
I've always said Bernhard Hopkins was a great fighter and a good boxer. I came to win. He beat me tonight. I accept it.
All right, tell us, Tito, before the fight, they made you rewrap your hands in a different way, with only one layer of gauze and tape instead of 2 layers of tape. Did that affect your power?
Antes de la pelea te hicieron que te vendara las manos otra vez con solamente una línea para trapo. ¿Eso te afectó el poder tuyo?
No, yo soy siempre un gran pegador. No importa, sinceramente no importa la manera que me venden, si mi padre me va a vender con todo el corazón.
I'm a great puncher. It doesn't matter how my hands were bandaged. It was just, that's the way it went.
Did you realize toward the end of the fight that you needed a knockout to win?
¿Estabas tú pendiente? ¿Realizabas tú que necesitabas un knockout al final de la pelea para ganar?
Es posible. De verdad que la pelea, yo pienso que la pelea estaba bien pareja. Voy y repito, Bernal es un gran peleador. Me dio buenos golpes, yo también le di buenos golpes a él. Fue inteligente y de verdad que, como quiera, hay que aceptarlo porque me ganó. Y es un gran peleador, yo lo he dicho.
It was possible that I might have needed a knockout, but I thought that the fight was very close and that I could still win without having to knock him out.
When you went down at the end, how surprising was that for you, having never ever lost a professional prize fight?
Cuando tú te caíste a lo último, ¿cuánto te sorprendió eso en saber que nunca tú habías perdido una pelea profesional?
Sí, es verdad. Yo nunca había caído más de una sola vez. Sinceramente, estaba bien consciente de que me había tumbado nuevamente y estaba tratando de recuperarme lo antes posible. Pero el árbitro detuvo el combate, de verdad que yo acepto lo que hizo el árbitro, no hay problema.
I went down, but I wasn't hurt. I was conscious of what was going on. He hit me hard, but and I accept that the referee stopped the fight.
All right, now that a Roy Jones fight is out of the picture, will you try for a rematch with De La Hoya?
Ahora que la pelea de Roy Jones no parece que se va a dar, pues, ¿tratarías tú por una revancha con De La Hoya?
No, yo siempre he dicho, y siempre hemos dicho que vamos a analizar mi futuro. Yo, de volver a pelear, eso lo tengo que discutir yo, mi padre y yo. Yo soy un gran peleador, no importa que haya perdido. Yo me repongo y vuelvo y gano, no importa. Pero en la noche de hoy, pues, tuve mi primera derrota, no hay problema.
I'm a fighter, and I'll fight anybody. I'm a great champion, and I have to discuss it with my dad and see what goes on.
Thank you very much. You've been a champion. Thank you for putting up the best fight you could against a great fighter tonight.
Y quiero decirle que siempre he respetado de gran manera a HBO, a toda la gente del boxeo.
I want to let everybody know that I have always respected HBO and everybody in boxing.
Y espero que tanto a mí como a todos los boxeadores siempre lo respeten, porque el boxeo es un deporte duro.
Boxing is a very hard sport, and I want respect, and I wish that all fighters were respected also.
Y como yo sé que ellos también me respetan a mí.
And I know that the HBO respects me.
Que lo sigan haciendo.
And I would love that they would keep doing it.
Y que en el futuro sigan habiendo grandes peleadores y grandes campeones.
And then in the future there would be great fighters and great fights.
Peleando por HBO.
Fighting on HBO.
Okay? No me aguanto.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, champ. Jim?
All right, thank you much, Larry. George, we're going to take care of one piece of business here before we throw it back up to Fran Charles. Earlier this evening, welterweights Rafael Pineda of Colombia and Michele Piccirillo of Italy fought a potential title eliminator, the winner supposedly to fight Vernon Forrest for his version of the welterweight title. George, the good boxer almost always beats the good puncher when the puncher waits and waits and waits to land a big punch, and that was the story of this fight.
Yeah, Pineda was just sitting around waiting, thinking, I'm going to beat this guy sooner or later. He can't move like this all night. He was disappointed and spoiled. This guy had all of the footwork and speed and coordination throughout the fight.
Pineda getting credit for a knockdown of Piccirillo in the second round when he barely landed a punch on the top of Piccirillo's head. But from that point forward, Piccirillo, too fast, simply too mobile, and sticking with his game plan, boxing all the way, more or less took the fight out of Pineda in 37 fights, and we'll see him down the road as well. Now let's go back up to our host, Fran Charles.
All right, Jim, so Bernard Hopkins becomes the first unified middleweight champion since Marvin Hagler had that title back in 1987. Manny, during the fight, you turned to me at one point and you told me Bernard Hopkins did his homework.
Yes, he was very well prepared coming into the fight. He did everything that he said that he was going to do. And I don't think that Tito will ever beat Bernard Hopkins. I mean, there should never be any rematch as far as I'm concerned. And I'll just have to say I'm very happy to have had all these great fights that Tito has given us throughout the years, because he's been a true warrior. But what Felix did tonight was try to get set to throw that left hook, and as he was squatting, trying to get in position, Bernard every time would hit him with a short right hand. And he had no other battle plan. It was just strictly the left hook, the left hook. And Bernard had too many other things that he was able to do, in addition to being physically a strong man.
Manny, you said no rematch then for Trinidad. He shouldn't look for that. What's next for Bernard Hopkins?
Well, if Bernard Hopkins fights Roy Jones, it's got to be taken as a serious fight. And at this point in time, you may even have to favor Bernard, considering the good competition that he's had in the last couple of years as compared to what Roy has had. So all of the great natural talent that Roy shares and enjoys, he may have to give it up a little bit in this fight here. Because when they fought before, he just barely won the fight then.
Right.
And Bernard Hopkins right now is at the top of his game.
All right, now what's next for Trinidad then?
Trinidad right now, I think he should take a really good long rest. He's been on a lot of big fights, even a fight with Vargas, which he won, but still he suffered a lot, I think, physically. And I just don't know what's going to be the future for him right now.
Well, all right, well, we will wait and see. Bernard Hopkins coming in with a game plan and sticking with it. Emmanuel, it's been a pleasure. Okay. All right, so for Manny Stewart, I'm Fran Charles. Trinidad versus Hopkins has been brought to you by Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. HBO pay-per-view, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by the folks at HBO. And special thanks to America Online and AOL members for participating in tonight's telecast. We'd also like to thank our internet partners and the following magazine partners. And a special thanks to the partners who provided the Sugar Ray Robinson Trophy. And so for all of us here on a special night at Madison Square Garden, this is Fran Charles saying good night. Our executive producer is Rick Bernstein. Tonight's telecast was produced by Dave Harmon and directed by Mark Payton. Associate producers, Tom Huffine and Brian Lockhart. Assistant to the producer, Abteen Motia. Production manager, Mark Hayden. Technical supervisor, Bob Hunter. Technical director, Doug Getz. A reminder, at the end of our credits, we will list some of the organizations you can volunteer or donate to.